I'm taking you with me. We can just keep our histories to ourselves. You don't tell anyone about your condition.
We'd try to keep you alive. You're not immune from being ripped apart.
Frank.
Man, Last of Us. Wow. We got a lot to look forward to. What's happening, everybody? It's Lamont Tyson bringing you my Last of Us Episode 2 trailer breakdown, Black Folks Edition. If you're finding me for the first time, please subscribe to the channel. Be sure to download the podcast. I drop a podcast for all the stuff I do on YouTube. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, was Riley a terrorist? We'll get to that part in just a second and how Riley plays into the story. But before we do that, let's watch the rest of this trailer and then we'll go through it piece by piece.
We will never have friends because there are no friends to be had.
Just because life stopped for you
Doesn't mean it has to stop for me.
There's no halfway with this. We finish what...
So in the very beginning, we see Joe somewhere with his light on, and you've got the first incarnation of the fungus virus, a clicker. I think this is a clicker. I don't think this is a stalker. I think this is a clicker. And more than likely, we should hear clicking if it was a clicker, so I'm going to say it's a stalker. And remember, clickers can't see, so they use echo vision. But you have Ellie asking him, has he ever killed one? And you can hear the screams. And then you can see Ellie and Tess in this same room with Joel. And then you can hear another voiceover of Ellie saying, is it hard to kill them knowing they're human? And now Joel didn't really say anything, but Joel should have said, fuck no, it ain't hard. I'm trying to survive. And then you see Ellie flicking out her knife into the face of one of the infected. And I love how HBO has gotten so graphic with the fungus growing out of the mouth, fungus growing out of the eye. And ladies and gentlemen, just look at this MFer. He looks just sad, you know, and she probably need to go and take him out of his misery. But one thing that they normally do on the video game, some of these, when you kill them, the spores come out of them. And they used to have to wear a mask when they got outside of the compound, but they're not doing that on this show, probably because they want to show these pretty faces of the ex-Game of Thrones actors. And so we're not going to get that in this show. And then we see, ladies and gentlemen, them getting outside the QZ in the outer regions of Boston. And it's just basically Joel saying, look, I don't care what your past is. You keep it to yourself. I won't tell you about my past, because at this point in time, you got to know this is Ellie's first time really getting out and seeing the world. And so she's probably starting to bond with Joel. And Joel is still kind of, he just want to get her to the Greek, get the mission done. And that's all he wants to have to do with her. But ladies and gentlemen, over time, these two will bond. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we get what I'm thinking is a flashback, because this trailer is not just for episode 2. There's a lot of things that are going to happen in later episodes. And this is showing a flashback to Storm Reed's character, who is Riley. Riley was initially mentioned by Marlene. And let me take you back to what Marlene said about Riley in episode 1.
Why would you terrorists dump me with Fedra?
Because it's where you'd be safest, and you were safe there until you decided to sneak out. And terrorist? Was Riley a terrorist?
So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Riley is being played by Storm Reed, who just came out and is dating Deion Sanders' son. So bless that little union. But Riley was a friend to Ellie in the video game. She was a survivor friend of Ellie. And you got to see that if you got the downloadable content for the game. And they kind of gave the backstory of the whole thing. And I don't think that we're going to see her a bunch in this series. We might, I hope we do, any more than her being a flashback for Ellie. But it'd be great to see her, because here's my little insider hypothesis. I do believe that Riley is Marlene's daughter, because the way Marlene spoke about Riley and them not being terrorists and them trying to help Ellie, because Ellie had no idea why they was taking her and putting her into the Fedora compound, simply because they knew that Ellie has the key to saving humanity. And it would be great if Riley has that same key and they wind up meeting each other and then they team up. But technically she met Riley before she met Joel. So this looks to be a flashback, even though I hope it is not a flashback. And then we get the voice of reason, ladies and gentlemen, as we hear Tess telling Ellie, don't tell anyone about your gift, about your condition of being able to be immune to this fungal infection. And we see Tess looking like the voice of reason as we see Ellie scratching her arm and then screaming, because probably to Ellie, this is more of a curse than it is a gift, because, you know, she's protected, but she can also be used as a pawn for anyone trying to make money. In a survivalist nation, you would think people should just be trying to survive, but Ellie could easily be used as a pawn for anyone that wants to use her to try to make, you know, income or try to use her to help themselves. You can see that she could be that type of character, and that's what makes this a dynamic show. And then we get another voiceover of Tess saying that, you know, we got to keep you alive because you ain't immune from getting your ass ripped apart. And we hear Tess saying that as we see some more of the infected behind what looks to be a window with a big gun. And then we see one of the infected, man. Now, this is a full-fledged clicker. He can't see. He uses echolocation, ladies and gentlemen, sound vibrating to tell him where the hell people is at. And when y'all see these MFers chasing folks, y'all gonna be like, whoa. Then, ladies and gentlemen, we get a big look at the compound of Bill and Frank. These two best friends, you hear Bill saying to him, we'll never have friends, and they're located in Lincoln, ladies and gentlemen. And the way he's got his compound set up is that there's an outer zone with traps and all kinds of stuff to keep people out. And he's also got a zone where there's pretty much the fungal infected people out there keeping people out as well. Well, eventually you got to know, just like on the video game, Joel and Ellie wind up breaching the compound. And I'm not going to say they become friends with Bill per se, as much as they kind of just have a buddy alliance. They're not friends, but they do form an alliance. And you could just see Bill with his buddy Frank just telling him, look, we never going to have friends because ain't nobody else up in here but me and you. And then they go through a couple of shots of Bill holding his gun, protecting his place. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we see Melanie Linsky pulling the gun on Joe. And she's with a group called the Hunters. This was not part of the video game, ladies and gentlemen, but on the show, she's part of another rogue group, kind of like the Fireflies that hate the government and the people trying to take over. And I'm just wondering what are going to be the interactions with her and Joel. And there you see another picture of the group that she's got formed together. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we see Wyoming. This is why I'm saying that they're jumping around, because this definitely is not going to be in episode 2. And in Wyoming, that's where the brother Tommy is found. And he's talking to Joel. Now, the brother, for whatever the reason, I guess he's gotten to Wyoming. They've gotten comfortable. They've learned how to adapt to living in this situation. And he's basically telling his brother Joel, just because life stopped for you doesn't mean that it stopped for me. So I wouldn't be surprised he got him a sweetie pie up in Wyoming, got him a baby. For all we know, he done started a whole new family up in this joint. And he's telling Joel, look, dude, just because you have no more hope, you've lost everything, I've got new things. And don't be surprised, ladies and gentlemen, if you see Tommy with a whole brand new damn family as you see him talking to his brother and his brother's walking away. And this shot right here is iconic because it's kind of like straight from the video game. Then, ladies and gentlemen, we got two black brothers. And in true scary movie form, if they keep this like the video game, these black dudes is gonna die. Name is Sam and Henry, and the way that they're gonna suffer and die is gonna pull your damn heartstrings. So another scary movie where the black folks die in it, and maybe they'll surprise us and not stick to the way the video game was and let these dudes survive, but I doubt it. So don't get used to loving these dudes because they are going to die. And then in the very end, ladies and gentlemen, we hear Ellie saying there's no halfway with us. We've got to finish what we're doing. We got to finish this job. As you see Joel pulling a gun, probably on a clicker, ready to take him out because he's starting to get more and more emotionally involved with Ellie and treating her like his daughter, because Ellie is going to show y'all that her ass is tough, ladies and gentlemen. I think that's going to really ingratiate her to Joel, and she's going to save Joel a couple of times, and that's going to really bond them together. So ladies and gentlemen, please post me all your comments on what you think about what's going to happen in episode 2. Join me tonight as I get up here with Lex the Targaryen at 9 p.m. Eastern time to review episode 1 and talk about all the good things that we're going to see coming forward in this season. Don't forget to like the video, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, download the podcast. Till that next Sex is Hell video, I'll see you.